Hey, this is Minds Moving Mountains with Mel and Jenn, two independently dependent soulpreneurs, connecting women to the things that move them forward. Hey.
Good morning, podcasters.
Good morning.
Hey, Nell.
Hello.
So we have Nelle Lawrence in the house today.
Hi, everyone.
Yes, Nelle and I have been friends for a long time.
A long time.
She tried to leave me, moved away for a while.
couldn't.
But she booneranged. We'll ask her how many boonerangs she's done now, though. Was that the only one?
I think really only one, technically.
Okay.
I came back for a hot minute, just for like a summer before I moved to Chicago. But
Okay.
I think a true boonerang, this is the only one.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. Yes. So Nelle grew up here in the high country. Her mom is a prominent figure in the education world.
I mean, that library,
High school?
volunteering, prominent.
People are lining up at the door.
Kids club.
Come on, Miss Lawrence, let's go.
She taught in the school system
She
for a
did.
very, very long time. So people,
I love it.
if they don't know Nelle, they say, oh, you know Susan Lawrence. And they
they
say,
do.
of course, yes. Nelle is the co-owner of FA Fitness in Blowing Rock. We're going to be talking all things strength today.
Fitness time.
Fitness
My
time.
favorite topic.
It's your jam.
It's my jam, yo.
And we wanted to bring you on because strength training is the new skinny for women. And there are a lot of myths and misnomers about
yeah.
strength training for us at all ages, from when we were young to 80 years old, 70 years old, and what it means to be focusing on strength versus skinny.
For sure. Redo.
Why don't you tell us, Mel, your experience with strength training?
0.5. On a scale of 1 to 100, 0.5.
0.5. I like
So I have been that person that's always cardio focused. I've always had high cholesterol, all this stress and anxiety, and cardio was always the answer to getting rid of it, getting healthier. So strength training has never been part of my workout repertoire until a couple of weeks ago, when I actually visited FA Fitness as part of a Women's Foot of the Blue Ridge fundraising event, and it was focused on strength training. And so we had a whole crew there, but I won't forget when I first walked into Nell's studio, I was like, what is happening in this space? I've never seen a workout studio like that that's open with all the different sections of equipment and people rotating, round robining through things. And it was pretty inspiring, actually, because we're all out in the open, we're all doing different things, and we're all able to strengthen and train our bodies in a way that I had never done before. So tell us a little bit about like the concept of the studio.
Yeah, so I think the number one concept is honestly like fitness should be somewhat fun, like a little at least. So it might not be something that we're always motivated to do, right? But if you can make a space where people feel comfortable and they're like, well, once I get here, it actually ends up being pretty fun. That's kind of what we were going for. So, you were in there, we turn the lights down, we have our disco lights going, we have a disco ball swinging around the ceiling. I mean, it should be a good time, as fun as you're going to make working out. And that's really the concept. It should be accessible to everybody and something that everybody can do. And something I always say, we've got enough stuff that we dread during the day. That shouldn't be one of them.
Yeah,
Right.
and one of the things that made me feel so comfortable being a new person in a space like that, doing something that I don't typically do. I mean, I'm the 5-8 pound like Pilates, strength thing, right? Not like legit strength training.
And Pilates is great.
Pilates is great. I do it every day. And I loved that I felt like you and Richie, your co-owner, were watching my positioning and able to come, and y'all did address if I was holding the weights in a way that was actually going to affect my lower back
Right.
in a bad way. Y'all came and were like, wait, right? That just felt really personalized in a space that was so open and everyone is around.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we like to say it's like 50% show, 50% no. You got to know what you're doing. You got to have coaches that can cue, correct, do proper form analysis, but also it's got to be a good time.
Yeah.
Like, no one wants to walk into, like, no music. It's, like, bright white. Like, we don't want to see ourselves that much either. Those nice dark lights, you look fabulous.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You know, your
Yeah.
muscles are popping. You're like, here I am. I got a pump. I just walked in the
Yeah.
door.
Yes, I mean, the analogy is like going into a bar, and the bar is as bright as it is
I
in
know,
the
it's the
studio.
ugly
And then you're
lights,
like,
ugly
no,
lights, ugly
no,
lights.
nobody
You're
like,
that,
I'm coming back in 3 hours.
Yes,
When
I
they
know.
dim this down a bit.
I know, I know. Teaching the 6 a.m.s right now, it's like the sun is already out, and it's like,
You're like,
oh, it's
no.
too bright for 6 a.m.
Yeah,
You know,
you're like
especially
blackout shades.
I know, blackout shades are great. And actually, one of my favorite things is when there is those mega classes.
Yes.
and
Yeah.
there's 20 to
All the
28
energy.
people in there working out, and I'm just there, kind of just
Hype girl.
hype girl.
She is,
Correct.
seriously.
Hype girl. And we get to talk a little shit, but it's always encouraging, like smack, right?
Oh,
We're
yeah,
talking
for
encouraging
sure,
smack
for
for
sure,
sure. But yeah, that's like one of my favorite things. And then I get a little giggle out of people, and I make people laugh, and I say funny things, and I say things that they're thinking.
Oh,
Right?
yeah. Like, this is
that's
terrible.
Yes. Like, I know this
Yeah.
sucks and you hate me right now. And guess what? That actually makes me love you because I know I'm doing my
Right.
job right.
It's a superpower.
It-
That's true.
Thanks. But before we get really into this whole strength thing, let's go back and talk about you and how you got into personal training and when did strength training really become your focus?
Sure. Yeah. So I would say, honestly, if we want to get like deep for a hot second,
Yeah.
I will say that growing up, I always struggled with my weight. You know, as you can see, I don't know if you can see by these chairs, but I'm about 5'1" on a good day, you know, like if I have heels on. And, you know, I just always struggled with having a body type that was just a little more short and stout. And, you know, us ladies here that grew up, you know, we're in our 40s and our 50s now. If you grew up through the skinny era, it was a real tough time.
Yeah.
It was a real tough time. And there was really just no education out there at that time about healthy nutrition practices, weight training, especially for females. We can get into that when I first started training a little bit like down the road. But essentially, you know, I went through, as I think most adolescents and teens do, going through phases of just weird dieting. You know, you do like that cabbage soup thing or like whatever, you know, just weird fad diets.
I've done them all.
Not eating enough, so underfueling, overtraining.
Do you remember fat-free cheese?
Fat-free cheese, fat-free Oreos. Remember those snack wells?
Oh,
it's
snack
like all
wells.
the cookies are like, you're like, what are we doing?
What are we
right?
doing?
But there's just so much.
Full of such other garbage.
Oh, so much
It's
garbage.
like plastic, I
Yes.
think is what we ate.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure my insides are like half plastic
Yes.
at this point. Like,
Microplastic studies.
yeah, snack
Your
wells.
next research victim.
Right here.
But anyway,
Give her a call.
So I just think that part of it stemmed from the fact that I just always struggled with that from the time I was about, I would say like 9, probably about 9 years old, which is sad. You know, that's a sad thing to have to struggle with. And it wasn't until I got into college and started to try to figure out, like, there's got to be a better way than this, right? This is getting me nowhere. And I think at that point, I started educating myself a little bit more while I was here at App, just on proper nutrition, on weight training. I did a lot of cardio at that time too. I mean, you know, just anything to help manage my weight and look the way I thought I should look. And then over time, that's really morphed into just being like, I should just love myself and be as strong as possible. So, like, you know, and of course it morphs over time. But that's probably where it stemmed from, is just really being unhappy with how I looked and not even understanding why I couldn't look a certain way. I heard a good analogy the other day. Some people are built like greyhounds and some people are built like corgis. And I'm built like a corgi. If I starve myself to death, I'm not going to look like a greyhound. I'm just going to look like a sick-ass corgi.
Yep.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yep.
Like, so
Yeah.
Yes.
you have to understand those things and you
Yeah.
have to embrace those things and then figure out, all right, well, how do I become happy with me?
Yeah.
You know? And the way I did that personally is I just get as strong as I possibly can.
Yeah.
I just want to pick up like a dump truck or something.
Yeah.
And I've seen you do it.
You know?
Yeah.
You know?
And I
So-
think we all go through, or so many of us, to your point, go through the weight struggle.
Yes.
And it wasn't until probably 2 years ago when I got into a really great routine of yoga and Pilates.
Yeah.
That I started feeling the shift from inside my body, like the core of me, my soul.
Yes.
Everything felt different. I was more relaxed. I was less stressed. I wasn't thinking about the fat on my sides as much because there was something that was more full inside.
Absolutely.
Right. And now I see the toning and the definition. And now that I'm doing more weights, I feel stronger. Like I can go and pick something up way more easily than I could 3 years ago. And that's empowering.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing more empowering than feeling strong, you know?
Yeah. And so when you work with a new client, when you have a new client come in and say, look, this is my situation. I can't lose weight. And those are the words that they use. What's your process? What's your approach to get them into your space?
Oh, that's a tough one. Every client's different, right?
Yeah.
So it's very client dependent when it comes to that. But one of my first approaches really is simply, okay, like, why do we want to lose weight? Like, what is it that's causing it? Why, when you walk in the door, that's the first thing you say? Because honestly, a lot of times, the people that are walking in and saying that are not overweight.
Right.
You know, they're not overweight people. And so, you know, it's like, well, what is really driving this, you know? And you would be really amazed, I think, of how many of us have this, or clients or new clients, they will walk in with the idea that they should weigh what they weighed in high school.
I know. That's crazy.
And I'm like, what is going on? Like, you weren't even developed in high school.
I find it strange. I have actually no idea what I weighed in high school. People
don't
know
either.
exactly what they weighed in high school. I have no idea. I know you do.
Yeah.
But I have no idea. And I mean, I've had weight struggles, you know, all my life, but I just never focused on the scale.
Yeah.
But I always focused on how I looked and how I felt.
Sure.
You know, so it's probably some of these clients just don't feel themselves, but they're using more tangible things to grasp onto.
Yeah. Or the other thing I hear constantly is like, I just want to tone up. Right. I hear that constantly.
Yes.
So first of all, I do try to get to the root of what is the situation happening here? Why do we feel like this is occurring? And as you know, there's just many layers to all these things. There's a mental layer, there's a physical layer, all those kind of things. So we dive into goal setting first. You know, I like to really just sit down with you and we're going to talk it out. We're going to figure out what's going on. And Jen knows me. She's been my friend for a long time, and I tell it very straight.
You are very straight.
I'm a very straight shooter. I mean, I'm not going to BS around. I'm not going to tell you some kind of lies. I'm not going to promise that I can make you look a certain way in a certain amount of time. Like, that's just not something I'm going to do.
And you're going to let them know that you have to put in the work.
Right.
Oh, you got to put in the work. You got to put in the work.
work.
And I'd say the number one thing, though, that I find with ladies, especially around our age, let's say 30 plus, is most of them are actually under eating. They're under fueling and they're over cardioing, and they just have this for some reason, when it comes to food, less is more, and when it comes to exercise, more is more, and it's like a terrible combination. So I sit down and I really straight shoot with them. Like, how much are you eating? If you tell me you're eating 1,200 calories, I'm like, that's what children eat. That's what you eat when you're 9. So, like, why are we eating that? You know, because somewhere down the road, for some reason, we were told we should be eating no more than 1,200 calories.
Right.
No matter if we're 5'1" or 5'9".
Right.
Apparently, 1,200 calories is what everybody needs to consume, no matter what they do. Yeah, and so, you know, we start kind of with those foundational principles is like, what are we doing here? And then we start to work on the goals. But a lot of times we have to do some metabolism fixing before I can help you lose weight, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We got to undo. I like to say, if you've been crapping on your body for 20 years, it's not going to do what you want it to do. So in your 20s, you could get away with it. In your 40s, you cannot. So we're going to have to fix it first. And that takes time. And
But even though you're very straightforward, you're also very understanding.
Oh, I'm very understanding. I've been through it.
Yeah.
And you and I did a little mini thing back in September and October, and it was very, very successful. I was under eating, which is a big thing on GLP-1s, and I was like, I can't eat this much food, and you have a hard time understanding that, and it's fun for us to go back and forth. But you didn't say, okay, well, you have to eat 1,600 calories today. No. You are going to slowly.
It's a slow approach.
It's a slow approach.
Yeah.
So you're not overwhelmed. You're not worried.
Right.
You know, drinking that 42-gram protein shake at 10:30 at night is not ideal, but it's what I had to do to help get those calories in. And you and I both lost 14 pounds in 8 weeks and gained, 3% muscle, I think, almost. We weighed the same.
Identical when we started, which was weird.
I'm like maybe an inch taller.
Unbelievable.
And we pretty much, I got there a little faster.
You did. Yeah.
And then, but at the end of it, we were both like dead on the same. And we think that the only difference is I am on the GLP-1 and Nell is not. So we think it maybe helped progress mine a little bit
Like
faster.
accelerated it
Yes.
on the uptick.
But
I
yeah,
honestly think the biggest difference was simply that, like, she had to struggle to eat and I was starving to death.
right.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's like, I think, otherwise, I mean, and I think to your credit, I mean, like she just said, sometimes when people come in and they need to gain weight or like we need to get, especially if they're on a GLP-1 and we're like, we do have to eat adequate calories,
Yeah.
it's hard to eat that much when you're not hungry.
Right.
So it is a systematic approach. You definitely have to say, look, I usually say, okay, here's the calories I'd like to see you at. I never want you eating to the point where you're feeling sick or like
Right.
you can't, get the food in. But like, let's slowly add calories as we can and do the best you can. We're always just going to do the best we can. We're just human beings, right? We're not perfect. And I'm
Yeah.
going to do the best I can to not, eat a pint of Ben & Jerry's before bed.
Well, and I also think that like when you're not feeling hungry, like you did it, we've talked about
Yes.
it before.
At times,
you
yeah.
don't feel the hunger, but you know you need to eat. And so that is an example of mind over matter, right? Of you saying, hey, the tummy's not rumbling, but I know I have to do this. And I think that that's what's so important about anyone who really wants to make a positive shift in their life. There are experts who do this for a living.
Yeah.
And while we love to be the great predictors and the all-knowing
Yeah.
and say, no, I really can't eat more than 1,200 calories or else I'm going to gain weight.
Yep.
And that's going to be a problem. Well, there are lots of ways to consume calories. It's not like you're eating 1,500 calories of fried food, right? That's not the situation. But it is trusting that someone who is qualified, certified, has been doing this for decades, knows a little bit more about how to achieve the goal than we do and what we've conditioned ourselves to believe.
I have a really good example. I've had a client that she's been struggling. She's tall. She's like 5'9", and she came in and she had been struggling to lose weight. She's like, I can't lose weight. And first of all, I talked to her and said, first of all, you're at a very healthy weight for your size. I'm just going to tell you that off the bat. You're strong. You're at a very healthy weight. But then I said, but that's fine. If you want to make changes to your body, I'm not here to tell you can't. I just want you to know that you're not unhealthy. That's just the start. And then we started talking about her diet. And it turns out she's been eating about 1,200 calories for about 20 years. And so we did our psycho scan, which I think Jen has talked about at some point. So we did a body composition scan. I always like to have one to jump off with. And she had done one previously, probably like maybe 6 months before that. And what we noticed is her fat mass was starting to go up and her lean mass was starting to go down. And it was definitely a case of underfueling. I said, your body is not going to allow you to do this if we do not give it enough fuel. And so the first time we tried this, I gave her calories and I said the same thing to Jen, like, we're just going to start slowly adding calories. She did it for about 1 week. She got on the scale, panicked, and went back to eating 1,200 calories, right? And then about 3 months went by, and she came in and was like, I can't do it. She just had her, and I said, that's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Like, we can revisit it. We're not going to panic about it. And then the next time she came in, she's like, okay, I'm going to do it. And I just had to come up with some different strategies. Like, how are we going to get her to do this? So the first of all, I said, I want you to go home. She is a rule follower. So like, if I tell her to do something, she's going to do it. So I said, you go home and you take the batteries out of your scale and you put the scale in the closet.
Yes.
I said, that is step one. I just don't want you getting on it because you're going to panic.
Yeah.
And if it's sitting there, you're going to step on it. And she did it. And then I said, what we're going to do is we're going to add 100 calories every single week until we get you. I would like to see you over 2,000 calories, but if I can get you to like 1,850, 1,900 calories, I'd feel a lot lot better about that.
And people right now listening are going, whoa.
What? 1,900 calories?
Yeah.
Again,
Whoa.
children eat that.
Yes.
But anyway.
Yes.
Right.
But, and she did it. She did it over time, and she's up to about 1,900 calories, and lo and behold, she got on the Staiku last time, and guess what's happening? Her muscle mass is going up, her fat mass is going down, because she's actually feeling herself now. And the number one thing, I think, is she feels better. She came in and said, you know what? I don't have headaches every single day anymore.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, because you were starving.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So it's a systematic approach, and sometimes it don't work the first time.
Right.
But she finally said, I had to just get in my mind is I was just going to trust you, and I was just going to do it over long term.
Perfect example.
And that's what happens, right?
Yeah.
You have to find that trust. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to break habits, right?
Oh, so hard.
And so under eating is a bad habit.
It's a bad habit.
And you just get into this rut. It's almost like trying to quit drinking. Some people can't do it the first time, right? So they have to, keep trying at it and all this stuff. So it's the same thing about actually adding fuel to your body. So how many times a week did this client strength train?
She comes in with me. She does 2 times a week with me, and then she does 1 time because she lives down in Lenore. She goes to a gym 1 other time for strength training. So 3 a week.
3 a week, yeah. And how long a session?
45 minutes.
Yeah. See, and that's all you're asking, right?
That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're not going to be in the gym for 2.5 hours.
No.
Nobody has time for that. So.
And in all honesty, especially once we hit about 40 plus, we shouldn't be. More is not more.
Right.
We need to be focusing on things like recovery, which is very overlooked, stress management and recovery.
Does that involve massage?
Yeah, of course it does.
Great.
Massage. It's like the number one thing.
Plug.
But yeah, I think, people, again, it's in the U.S., we live in a society of excess in everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Abundance.
Abundance. And we think that more is always more. And when it comes to exercise, especially once you hit a certain age, more is absolutely not more. You can be tearing yourself down and not giving yourself enough time to recover, and you will see negative effects from that. So I actually try to talk my clients into taking rest days. Like, we don't need to be here 6 days a week. We need to be here and consistent about 3 days a week. And getting other movement in, of course, on the days that you're not strength training and things like that. Great time to do things like yoga and things like that, recovery exercises. But, you can overdo it.
Yeah.
You can overdo it.
And a lot of times your body is telling you that you're overdoing it. And we are so ambivalent to acknowledge that our body is begging us for rest.
Oh, yeah.
For that peace, for that calm state. And we just have to keep going because we think we know better than what our body is telling us or the expert is telling us. Surely no one else other than me could know what.
5 months post-op rotator cuff surgery. Listen to your body.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Listen to your body. What do you think the number one mistake women make in the gym?
Number one mistake. I don't know if there's a number one mistake, but one of the biggest mistakes is just not doing it long enough. I think it's expecting to see results really fast.
Yeah, we're an instant gratification society, right?
Again, it's everything we do here is like
the whole
push button, get results.
Trust the process.
You have to trust the process, and it takes a long time. We're not talking weeks and we're not talking months. We're talking years.
Right. And that's also, there's a lot of fear about women getting bulky. Oh my gosh, you work out. Yeah. How long have I been working out? Like lifting heavy. I mean, since the early aughts or whatever.
Same.
I mean, look at me. Yeah. I'm not bulky.
Same.
We're not bulky. You'd have to do a lot of extreme things to get that bulky.
Oh, yeah. You have to be on performance-enhancing drugs.
Correct. I wasn't going to say it. You could say steroids, yeah. So I think that's a big misnomer. Oh, I'm going to look too masculine kind of thing. That's not what they're going for. Yeah. And so I think seeing realistic people that do work out 3 to 4 times a week and looking at their bodies and stop looking at the social media or the old-timey videos of, strength women back in the day when it was like compared to the cardio woman, right? That's this huge extreme. So you're going to see that and think, oh gosh, it's either cardio or I'm going to look like this if I lift weights. Right. Yes. You look like a stick with cardio, or I'm going to look like, Princess Warrior.
Yeah. Well, you have to think about it this way, too. Muscle tissue is very lean. It's a lean tissue. So really the only way you're going to look bulky is if you're carrying a lot of fat mass around with your lean tissue. Okay? So if you look at like bikini competitors and things like that in the bodybuilding world, no one ever looks at them and is like, they're too bulky. They are super lean and super muscular, but the reason people think I get bulky when I lift weights is because typically what happens is you start a weightlifting regimen or something like that, you start eating more because you're hungry. And unfortunately, sometimes if you're not really paying attention to it, you start to put fat mass on at a faster rate than you're putting on lean tissue. And that's what makes you look bulky. So it has nothing to do with lean tissue. Lean tissue is exactly what it sounds like. It's lean.
Right.
It's small. And so you just have to really, what's happening is you're just eating over your maintenance a little bit too far, and you're just bulking, quote unquote, a little bit too quickly.
And muscle weighs more than fat.
Muscle weighs more than fat.
Yep. So you think you're getting on the scale and
That's why something like a Steiku scan is so important.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about that. I mean, we've talked
Yeah,
about it on this
sure.
podcast, but in case our listeners haven't heard us talk about it in other episodes, tell us about this because I'm obsessed with it. I was just
You're
on it
obsessed.
yesterday.
You love it. She does it every
In a
time
healthy
she
way.
comes in. I know.
No,
I'm
every
kidding.
2 weeks.
I'm just kidding. No, it's great. But here's the thing. The reason it is so valuable is because the scale tells you nothing. What does the scale tell you? The scale tells you your weight. It just tells you how much space you're taking up at that moment, right? It tells you nothing about your body composition. And so having some way to understand your body composition is the most important thing. And this is also what helps you stay consistent over time because like Jen was just saying, muscle weighs more than fat. So as we're trying to change our body composition, what's our whole goal, right? If you come to me and you're like, I want to tone up, what are you telling me? You're saying the word tone, but what is it that you actually want? You want to lose body fat, you want to gain muscle mass. That's what you're telling me. And the only way for us to know if that is happening is to have some way to measure body composition. So we have, a machine at our studio which does exactly that. It's infrared technology. You get on it, spins you around, you look like a crazy mannequin for a minute, and then it tells you a lot of things about your body, which is great. And it's the best way for us to measure progress because over time, especially if we're eating adequate calories, we know that weight loss is going to be slow. But we could be losing fat mass and gaining muscle mass at the same time, right? But the scale's going to stay the same. The scale doesn't know that. Right. All the scale knows is how much you weigh, period.
Yep.
And so that's where people can get very discouraged if they're just using a scale. I'm not losing weight. No, but your body composition is changing. And that's the only thing that really matters.
Yeah, I haven't gotten on a scale other than at the doctor's office, which I don't like those moments, but because I just stopped believing in the scale. I started trusting more in myself and less in the number that shows up on the scale. And so I have not been on a Steiku yet. And I want to be like, hey, Nell, right after this, can I come to the shop and just get on? Because you said something that really resonate. We just don't understand what is happening in our body. And it's that understanding in all aspects of our life when we really have an understanding of what's going on. Clarity just naturally comes from that. And moving forward comes from that clarity the right way. Moving forward the right way comes from that clarity. And when we can respectfully challenge ourselves and say, you know what? I believe that this number that's showing on the scale, I need to just drop that number down by 5 pounds. Well, that could be causing your body even more damage, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And I think one of the things that I've really been inspired by recently is as women in our 40s, moving into our 50s.
So close.
So close. How do we really prepare for this next phase of our life where balance is going to be more important now than ever, where the ability to, bend down and get up is going to be more important than ever. So talk to us as we're in this phase of our life. What is the value of strength training to us now?
Sure, yeah. The way I say it to whoever is coming into this stage of life is simply this. What beauty pageant are we trying to win anymore? What are we doing? Who are we impressing? Why are we trying to be skinny? This doesn't make any sense anymore, right? So where does our focus need to move? Our focus needs to move into being strong. Who cares about the rest? Let's just get in here. Let's lift some heavy stuff. Let's preserve and build as much lean muscle mass at this point as we possibly can. Because if you come to me in your 70s, which hopefully I'm not still doing this job when I'm 70, but if you come to me in your 70s, it's going to be real hard. It's going to be a real struggle to start putting mass on at that point, right? So we have to do it now. It's best to do it when you're in your 20s and 30s when you can put mass on easily. And every decade that passes, it becomes harder and harder.
But not impossible for those
Not impossible.
that are in their
Nothing's
70s.
impossible.
No,
Yeah.
Right.
not impossible.
Yes,
but
just harder, for
it's
sure.
harder. So if we can start in our 40s, or 50s even, and our focus shifts from what do I look like to how strong am I, how much muscle mass can I put on, then that is just something that is going to contribute to longevity down the road. Not to mention bone density, right? With ladies, we got to really work on that. And one of the best ways to help increase bone density naturally is with strength training. You have to put resistive forces on those bones, right? In order for them to stay strong. So it's a very important thing for anybody who is at risk for osteoporosis to do spinal loading specifically and weight training in general. It just like weight training affects muscle mass and muscle fibers, it also affects bone tissue. And going forward, I don't know about you, but I ain't trying to break a hip stepping off the curb. So all those things, I think it just needs to be a mental shift from aesthetics to longevity. And that's just the thing you have to wrap your head around. I still struggle with it every day, of course. You know, we're in a social media frenzy. I'm sitting here thinking about this monitor off to my left, like, do I have a double chin happening right now? Let's face those facts. Like, we all constantly think about that. There's mirrors, phones, images everywhere. But like I say, girl, find your filter and let's move on.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Let's move on.
Yeah.
And we just need to shift that focus. And I always like to challenge my clients a little bit, like, if you woke up tomorrow and there were no mirrors, there was no social media, there were no cameras, what would you come in the gym and do? You know what I'd do? I'd eat a bunch of food and I'd lift some heavy crap. I can tell you right now. That's all I'd do.
Right.
That's all I'd do. And it's a good question to throw out there. Like, why are we doing what we're doing? Are you doing it because you really want to? Or are you doing it because you feel like you have to because people are watching all the time? So if every woman woke up tomorrow and was like, you know what? I'm not participating in this anymore.
Yeah.
You know? I'm just not doing it.
Mel, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, what you're highlighting is a comparison culture. We're comparing ourselves to everyone else out there. And a lot of people say comparison is the thief of joy, right? Because we spend so much time being in that state and seeing what we're not. And one of the things that I would invite people to consider, especially and particularly because of this episode, is find someone who's strong, who looks healthy, who is focused on preparing for that next phase of life. Compare yourself to that person and see what you can bring from that person's experience. Comparison doesn't have to be the thief of joy. Comparison can actually add value to your life if you look at it through that lens of, I see that woman and she looks so strong. She looks so healthy. She looks like she can pick up that dump truck or do anything on her own and not need someone else. I want to implement more of what she's doing into my life and use comparison for good and not to hold you back. Those are my thoughts.
I love that. Yeah, motivation. Motivation is just so key. So, Nell and I play off each other. I mean, you know, Nell is definitely way stronger than me, but I'm still strong. You know, she's just stronger, but she also still does these big heavy lifts. Obviously, I've been injured for the past year, so I'm not doing those things. But like I said, in those 8 weeks back in the early fall of last year, we were doing probably a little bit of different things in the gym, different weights and stuff, but we still both achieved the same goal. But having that accountability, and, you know, I have a workout partner that I've worked out with for forever, and just having that one person also, too, just makes a huge, huge difference. Now, if you bring in a third person, you can say, oh, well, Nell and Mel are meeting me at the gym, but if I bail, then Mel's still going to be there for Nell, right? But if it's just one-on-one, like, if I bail, then Martha's all by herself, right? Mm-hmm. So we really try not to do that. And even if one of us does bail, we still try to go because we already had the plan to go. Now, every once in a while, listen, if you are tired, you should never be lifting, right? That's not good. If you're tired, you shouldn't be doing really anything that's going to require extra energy because that's where you're going to get hurt. But seeing other people using that to motivate you and maybe, you know, finding that accountability partner can be really huge. It's tough with schedules, though. It really is tough with schedules. So, you know, we work out 6 a.m. sometimes. I know. Nell doesn't like 6 a.m.s or cardio. So before we close, we like to do a favorite thing. So tell our audience, and it can be an object, something you like to eat, someplace you like to go, something you like to do. One of my favorite things actually was the staiku that we talked about a little bit. So what is a favorite thing of yours that you want other people to know about because it just brings you so much joy?
Diet Coke.
Diet Coke.
Okay.
Not Coke Zero.
Negative. No, God. Ugh.
Okay. That could be a whole nother
Get
podcast.
it away from me.
Okay.
Why Diet Coke?
It just brings me joy, let me tell you. You ever open it, it's just crisp.
The crisp ones, yes.
But it's got to be a can or a bottle.
Okay.
Possibly from McDonald's. Never
fountain.
from Chick-fil-A.
The fountain from McDonald's.
Subway's actually the worst.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
Okay, well, we got a lot there.
Okay.
We could just do a whole podcast on Diet Coke if
We
you
could.
want to.
We could.
I probably know more about that than fitness. What's your expertise? Diet Coke.
Diet Coke is my expertise. I travel around the world. Coca-Cola
World
Light.
of Coke? Yes. You ever been there and taste all the Diet Cokes?
No.
Where?
In
World
Atlanta.
of Coke in Atlanta.
I've actually never been.
No.
I know.
There's a lot of
And I'm in
fountains
Atlanta
there.
all the time. But
I don't
yeah.
remember the last time that I've had.
No, I can't. I don't. You know me. I don't love the artificial sweeteners.
Yeah.
So
Every day.
Every day. I know another person who first thing in the morning crack open a Diet Coke.
yeah, and their
A Diet
argument is,
Coke.
well, you drink coffee. Why can't I drink Diet
Exactly.
Coke? You can do whatever you
You
want.
can
You
Do
can do
you?
whatever you want.
Just accountability. Write down
Yeah.
everything you put in your pie hole. Right.
Give me the chemicals.
All the chemicals.
It's fine.
I eat clean otherwise.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm, over here pounding chicken breast.
All right. So how can people get in touch with you?
Couple different ways. You can just check out info at freedomathleticsnc.com. That's a long website. That's an easy way to email us. You could also just pop by the studio, which is actually our most fun and enjoyable way to meet you because I like to see you in person. You can check out the space and things like that. We also have a phone number, but I don't know what it is.
Oh, that's fine. Who uses phone numbers anyway?
And you're on Instagram.
And
But
Instagram.
of course, I'm on Insta, FA Fitness Studio. Very easy. That's probably the easiest way. Feel free to message me.
Great. And speaking of the staiku, if they want to get on that, would you be willing to possibly give a discount if they heard it on Minds Moving Mountains podcast?
Absolutely.
Great.
Nice.
Great.
Awesome.
All right. Well, Nelle
will be there
Lawrence,
right
thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Mention
for being
yourself when you come in.
Here. Yes. Hi, I'm Mel.
I'm Mel.
I'm here for my discount. I'll be like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'd like to spin around.
I'd like to talk to the owner, please.
I'm like, oh, he's over there.
He's over there. Oh gosh, too. And if you love doggies, there's always
the babies
doggies.
are
Puppies
there.
are always
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always have moral support.
Absolutely. Oh
I know.
my God.
I had it yesterday by both of them.
Oh, Freeze
I
was
know.
not letting you work out, though.
No,
He's like, if you could just stay here and foam roll so I could sit on you, that'd be lovely.
that was perfect. It was so cute. It was. It was.
All right. Well, thanks, Nell. We love you. And so glad you
yeah,
came.
for sure. Anytime. Any questions you have about, eating enough food, you just call me.
Okay. She's going to tell you to eat more.
Strength training. And
Oh, yeah, that part too.
Oh, yeah, but
There's
it's all
also
about food.
strength training. That's right.
Nell's also fasting today, so she's
I am.
hangry.
I have blood work later. I'm about to die.
We're not cutting that out. It's staying in. I love it.
All right, y'all. Well, this has been Minds Moving Mountains. And until next time, get your strength training in. Talk
Thanks
soon.
for having me.
Stay strong.